Thursday War Room, Thursday, December 20th, 10:44 and 20 seconds p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here we go.
Good evening. Thank you for joining the Thursday War Room. We appreciate y'all joining us again. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We want to start our show off each and every evening like we do with our questions. All our listeners send in the question we'd like to answer them. First and foremost, we're not going to talk to you again until next Thursday, so I want to extend a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everybody from myself in the Thursday War Room. I'm Larry B. To my left, I always have Chip.
Howdy, Merry Christmas.
To my right, I always got Greg.
How you doing?
And we're going to get things started tonight. Let's get started with our first question of the evening. Our first question comes in from Calvin from Miami. Calvin's a big Miami Hurricanes fan, Dolphin fan. His question is, question for the War Room. Since NHL is postponed, should the major stations / sports stations carry more arena football, college basketball, spring training / hot stove MLB, or some other sport? Follow up. What will it take to resolve the NHL holdout?
I'll attack that from two different parts, and I'll be short and sweet about it. First, those auxiliary sports, that might work in the summer, but it's not going to work when you have college basketball coming on, NBA basketball, football playoffs coming up. There's just no room for it. If you're in Canada, that's something different. I can understand maybe subsidizing the teams with young talent that people are familiar with from local, hockey shops where they can grow and people understand that, it's what it is, but it's still a sport that they want to watch. Now, what do they need to do to resolve it? They need to get over their petty quarrels about money. Football did it. Basketball did it. It's time for you guys to do it. Yes, we did it last time. Your revenue went up, but that's a risky game to play.
Yeah, it'd be nice for the NHL to come back. I mean, come on, we all kind of miss a little bit. Of course, us being down or where we live, college basketball kind of dominates things, and it really does. It fills my void. It really doesn't. The NHL really don't. The NBA is pretty good to me, but the college basketball, man, that's where it's at right now. But the NHL does need to get over it. I think there's a lot of people that appreciate it, and we just need to move on from this, and they need to come up with a solution. Whoever's going to lose or win, nobody really cares at this point. The owners are always going to win. The players need to come to a compromise. They need to figure it out. They need to get it done because it is a big deal. It's not so big in the South. It is big up north. It's a big deal. I get that.
Here's the sick part about it. It could, if they play this right and actually get it done within. I mean, they canceled all the games for this year, but if they get back into play about, the 21st, 22nd, whatever it was they did last time in January, I mean, just like the NBA with their short season, it could be a little bit more exciting. Everybody's a little bit more fresh.
You're talking about a 40-some game season.
Right. Everybody's a little bit more fresh. Everybody travels a little bit better. And I still believe that the NHL playoffs to go from beginning to end is the toughest route to a championship. All major sports included, because they play every other night and they grind.
Yeah, it's funny. They don't get paid near as much.
No, they do not.
They don't get paid near as much.
Which is why
they're fighting for less.
Which is why they're quarreling right now.
And it's ridiculous. Here's the thing: hockey night in Canada. When they do in America, hockey town is Detroit. But when they do hockey night in Canada, I've been there. I'm a witness to this. People stand on the sidewalk.
15 miles from the border, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I grew up there.
Okay.
People stand on the sidewalks and watch TVs in the stores or in bars or whatever. Hockey is a religion there.
Yeah.
Okay?
I
live now in Florida, and I see what SEC football is.
I get it.
It's equivalent to it. It is a get up, preach to your kids, here's how it is, nothing else matters. It don't change anything. It's still the fans that suffer. It's still the fans that pay. So what I'm going to do for our fan in Miami, I want to let them know they're going to resolve this one way or the other. There will be hockey by the 21st of January. you're going to have a 40-some game season like we did a couple years ago when they had to hold out in the NHL before. Your other question? No, you can't put another sport in there. College basketball is fitting to go crazy with conference play, and the NBA is starting to light up.
College basketball is hitting, dude.
They don't need, the stations aren't worried,
right now.
but NHL fans are waiting on hockey. Bottom line, am I right?
Yeah, they are.
Right,
I get that. I really do. I mean, I understand it. You know, it's important up there, but you know what? It really is not like I'm not suffering from the NHL not being on TV.
Oh, you're missing maybe
not
one,
at all.
One highlight.
I don't.
Maybe you're missing maybe like the Sports Center 8th highlight that you don't even care about.
No, let's not go there.
I don't mean no disrespect to them.
Well, it's a great sport. Everyone loves it.
It needs to be here.
But their stupidity is very high to ruin a great product that they are really trying to
listen.
make.
I'm not hurting because
when this picks up,
ain't there.
folks, I'm going to be the first to defend you.
But
I'm the hockey fan. You know that. We'll see where we go. Moving on to our second question of the evening. Our second question comes from Plattsburgh, New York, and Tom Benwer. Tom Benwer asked us, my question is this. Instead of changing preseason and adding more games to the regular season, how about making the Super Bowl the best of 3 games? This is done in baseball, basketball, hockey, and other sports.
Yeah, and those are non-contact sports. Again, I'll make this short and simple. Having 3 different playoff games for the same Super Bowl teams, that I don't think that would ever work on any stage. I understand from the standpoint of maybe you get more ad revenue, but now you're asking the players that aren't getting paid. I mean, most of these players for the regular season are getting over $200,000 a game. When it comes to the playoffs, they're getting paid no more than $30,000, and it only goes up as you go on. So for them, it's a big risk. It's a physical risk. It's a health risk. It's a risk they talk to their family about. So from that angle, if everything's about player safety, which Roger Goodell says and everything like that, something like this would never happen. Do I agree with getting rid of 2 preseason games? Absolutely.
Yeah,
but don't subsidize it with a playoff.
No, just don't fool with the end of the season. If you want to fool with the beginning of the season, I'm good with that.
It's perfect the way it works right now.
Yeah, it's fine right now, but they do need to shorten. You know what? I'm on the player side when it comes to shorten preseason games. But to start fooling with the playoffs and this idea right here, no, don't mess with something that works real good. Mm-hmm. Do not mess with that. But on the front end of it, let's get rid of some of these, these preseason games. I agree with that. I mean,
look,
if you're a professional and you're getting paid to play a sport like football, whatever,
it's
you
a
get
business,
paid.
though. They look to put a price tag on everybody's head.
You have an obligation to keep yourself. You're getting paid.
But
you have a responsibility as an athlete for whatever team
preseason
you're playing
benefit more, players or owners?
Owners and coaches. Owners and coaches.
You know what? You don't have to have preseason.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It benefits everybody, but it benefits owners and coaches better because they can.
They do this year. If I'm the head coach or I'm the GM of a football team, we're doing it year round. I mean, we're
how often do you see a Belichick play a Brady in preseason?
Well, here's the
preseason. I don't even. It just hurts.
But what he's doing is
I don't agree with it. I don't like
the offseason, get back to the speed of the game. Once you're comfortable, I'm going to play our backups, and I'm looking for trade value.
The younger
year-round.
I ain't putting my starter in preseason more than I have to.
I don't like.
No, you give someone like a Ryan Mallett. Look, when we're talking about the playoffs, when we're looking at the 4 major sports, yeah, I said that hockey was probably the most exciting, but in terms of the way it unfolds. We look at baseball, we look at certain games, we look at game 7s, we look at, the first games of the series based on the pitchers and who's pitching and everything like that. When we're looking at NBA, a lot of people say that they're way too long anyway. no one says that the NFL football playoffs are too long.
No.
They say that they're
And
perfect and what it is. And what we don't want, at all is like a 7-9 or an 8-8 team.
Like Roger Goodell wants to do now.
Right.
With making it from 14 plus 2 to 16 plus 2. You're talking about 18 teams. So let's go crazy for a second. Let's go 16 plus 2. With what we got right now, who are the other 2 teams in each division? And then the 2 wild cards.
You know what?
I mean, we're going to have teams under 500.
Which is why they shouldn't even do it.
They don't belong there.
Yeah, this is.
I understand why they expanded baseball, and some of the changes have made it a little bit more intriguing. But that's baseball, where they play 100 million games a year, 162.
You know what?
But,
if they want to do something like this, then shorten up the preseason and forget about going to NFL Europe. NFL Europe, who cares about NFL Europe?
The people that are going to be traveling to
but they play
London in
soccer over there. They don't
2015
give
when they
a
put a
damn
franchise out there.
But I'm just saying.
I hear you.
I mean, why? I don't know why they feel they need to make
right.
that
They're
jump.
going to do it.
Because
They're
it's about
why
though?
Because it's about increasing.
Money.
It's about, honestly, and this is probably
I know what it's about.
Right, but they're racking their head and they're taking a little bit from the NHL, even though they're not really good about it because hockey doesn't make a lot of money. But the model that the NBA has been doing, which is getting other cities, countries involved, and they have to grow their product because what they're finding is that in the U.S., most of their revenue is coming from TV. And the revenue from the stands is declining. If they can activate another source of stadium revenue, then great. You'll see 10 teams over there if they make money.
Well, look, Tom, remember, we got off on your question a little bit. And
I think that sucks.
We hope we answered it. It's actually not possible. I can't see it happening.
They wouldn't do it.
Thank you for the question. I don't see it happening simply behind the fact the amount of money that the NFL puts out to just put a Super Bowl on.
And then you're going to have a Pro Bowl after that?
And it won't happen. It won't happen. Hey, listen, I know the man very well. Good luck to your Patriots. That's all I can tell you. And we're moving on tonight. Moving on, we're going to start our show off. We're going to pull the NFL playoff picture, Week 16 scenarios at you. Let me start off by saying this year, I'm sure everybody knows, but this year's Super Bowl is being held at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans.
February 3rd, right?
It's the 3rd of February. Right now, the way the playoff picture looks going into this week, last week, the Green Bay Packers and the Houston Texans captured divisional titles. Baltimore and San Fran secured playoff spots. So we're really coming down to the end here, folks. We got 2 weeks left. There's not a whole lot out there left up for grabs. But in the AFC, divisional champs right now are your Patriots at 10-4 in the East. Locked it up. Houston in the South is 12-2. They only need one more win to secure the first seed in the AFC and home field advantage. Denver's already won the West at 11-3, so that basically all we got left in the AFC is the North. Everybody's fighting for that spot in 2 wild cards. Baltimore's 9-5. They got the Giants at home this week. If they win, they can clinch this week, but they got to play the Giants. What do you think, Greg?
When we're looking at this, we're really talking about the Bengals and the Steelers. Like you said, the Ravens clinch, and I think that's a big game for the other team. But right now, it's going to come down to the Bengals and the Steelers. Miami has a real outside chance, and given the fact that everybody threw them under the bus early, it's a credit to them for even being in the mix this late. But if the Bengals win one game, they're in. The Steelers are out. The Steelers have to win out, and they play each other head to head. So they got to beat them, and win. The Steelers got to win their second game. I give it to the Bengals.
Me too.
I also think that you need to credit the Colts for being 9-5 so far, and Andrew Luck breaking Sam Bradford's 2010 record for most wins by a quarterback.
Sounds like a rookie to me.
By a rookie quarterback.
Rookie of the year.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, Chip.
Well, it sounds like. I don't know.
The boy knows what he's doing. You know, he's had a couple late quarter comebacks, everything like that. We'll probably get into that a little bit later. But right now, you know, I give the Bengals a nod over the Steelers, and we're looking at the Texans, Broncos, Bengals, Colts, Patriots, Ravens. How it shakes out those last couple of games in terms of the bracket. You know, but coming out of the AFC, I really like the Patriots.
So you brought up a few things. You like the Patriots, okay? You brought up Rookie of the Year out of the AFC. You also brought up MVP out of the AFC. You know, you talked about Cincinnati. The North is still up for grabs. Baltimore's got a long road ahead of them. Cincinnati has Pittsburgh, then Baltimore. Cincinnati has Pittsburgh, then Baltimore. I think Cincinnati this week beats Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's struggling. I don't think
they have a lot of problems.
And Mark Haley are getting along very well. You can't fault the head coach. Who's the defensive coordinator? Dick LeBeau.
Yeah.
You can't fault them. They've been together a long time. I think the Mark Haley and the Ben Roethlisberger relationship is here.
Roethlisberger got hurt, man.
I don't care if he got hurt. I don't think he ever got along to start the season.
He still got hurt. You know what? Mike Tomlinson makes the final decision. It doesn't matter.
Here's what I'm telling you.
As long as Mike Tomlinson is my coach.
But Todd Haley and Roethlisberger have to have some cheese and crackers and some tea and make it nice.
Whatever. That's cool. But you know what? You know who will come in there and figure it out and take care of it?
Who wins in North?
Tomlinson will take care of that.
Baltimore, Pittsburgh, or Cincinnati? Who wins in North? Because
who is
Cincinnati?
Baltimore.
Cincinnati might get it. Because you know what? They might play inspired. And if they roll,
they got Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
I know if they roll through that division, and Baltimore's hurting right now. You know, you look at the Baltimore Ravens. Everybody's been talking about their defense for the last couple of years. Everybody knows that their defense has fallen off a little bit. They've given up major yards, and everybody says, "Hey, you know what? This is now Ray Rice's team and Joe Flacco." Joe Flacco talked about being the lead quarterback at the beginning of the season, much like Eli did when he won the Super Bowl. But Joe Flacco's not going to win the Super Bowl.
No.
Joe Flacco can't even get out of bed. And he had a .4 rating as a quarterback, only worse to his other .3.
What if Pittsburgh
I get that.
What if Pittsburgh got 7-7, beat Cincinnati this week?
They ain't not going to beat Cincinnati.
What if they do? They got Cleveland left.
Well,
I'm just asking you what if. I'm asking the scenario.
Cleveland. Do they have to win 2 to get in?
Yep.
They do. They're done. They're out.
Yeah, they don't worry about what anybody does. They just got to win out.
Mm-hmm.
And
just remember, in the AFC, first and foremost, we're talking about teams 8-6, 7-7. Indy's sitting there at 9-5, looking good. They got Kansas City this week, and then they go to Houston. Who knows what Houston's going to do?
They should get 1 out of 2.
They will. They need one to clinch playoffs, and they got it.
At worst, they're going to end up 10-6. If they win them both, they're 11-5. I don't care if they win one playoff game. We're going to discuss Rookie of the Year next year, or later in the show. Where does that put Andrew Luck for 11-5 or 10-6?
The only question about Rookie of the Year is the problem that if RG3 is not going to play, they keep saying I don't know where they're at.
I don't think it matters anymore.
But it does. But if he doesn't play,
they already say he's playing. He's playing.
Is he playing? Are we sure?
Shanahan said.
So I saw him today. It was like
Shanahan said he's ready to go.
Let's go ahead and close out the AFC.
But that didn't. What I saw didn't give me the. I didn't see that he was clear to go.
Hey, you know what?
Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see the clear.
I am.
I'm not going to put you on a spot.
Okay.
I'm not going to put you on a spot with the AFC and who's going to win it. Who are the 2 teams, Greg, that play for the AFC Championship?
Broncos, Patriots, if they're not in the same bracket. If they are, I think the Broncos, if the Patriots and Broncos are on the same side, the winner of that will end up playing the Texans. I don't think Andrew Luck gets deep into it. I think the Bengals, maybe they win their first round and get some type of confidence builder for next year. Build on that. They got a lot of great pieces.
And that is bold. You got some bold stuff going on.
Who do you think, Chet?
I mean, seriously. Yeah,
I mean, you don't know how the bracket works out right now.
Well,
The bracket's going to fall. I'm just asking you, who are the two teams you think could make it? I'm saying think could make it because we don't know how the bracket shapes up.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to NFC Championship?
You know what, man? I can't get rid of the Broncos and the Patriots, man. I can't do that just yet. And now how depending on how things shake out, I think the Texans, I mean, they're there. But you know what, man? You got a mess right here. You got the Colts sitting there. You got the Seahawks sitting there. You got RG3 that could just bust loose at the right time of the year and just take away things. What?
Well, you know what?
What are you? What? Tell me, Larry.
You know what? These guys know me first and foremost. I'm a Giants fan. I'm an NFC East fan. If Denver makes it to the AFC Championship, I'll be running around with an 18 T-shirt on, blue and orange, screaming and yelling. I have never, ever been, yes, he's a great quarterback, but I've never stood up and said, I'm a fan of Peyton Manning. What I'm a fan of this year is that he is so dominant. He is so unpredictable. And he's, every week I go, well, here's where we're going to level off. He goes higher. When does it stop, Greg? When does Peyton Manning hit that plateau and everybody understands that's where he's at? He gets better every week. Every week off of neck surgery.
Look, unless, and I'll tell you what, from a professional sports standpoint, I adore Peyton Manning. His work ethic, his attention to detail, the way he goes about his business, the way he masters his craft. I really appreciate it. Issue is, though, he's always had a little bit of trouble in the playoffs. He might be 1 or 2 games over 500. He only has 1 championship. While he probably is, one of the best regular season quarterbacks that anybody has ever seen. I mean, I don't know if you can string together the type of career that he has put together, but because it's Peyton Manning, because of his track record where he's been good but marginal in the playoffs, you're really going to need to see the defense really step up their game for the entire season, for entire playoff season in order for Peyton.
Which that defense, who's totally intact, carried Tim Tebow.
Right, and they may have Defensive Player of the Year on the team. What I am saying, though, is that you're going to need that type of effort in order, because, as good as he is, we've seen him rattled in the playoffs. And so no one ever has a question about Peyton Manning during the regular season.
You think you're watching the same Peyton Manning this year you watched 3 years ago?
Look, he's making all his reads. He's making
he's looking at the same player.
No, I think he's better than what he was.
I think he's
better than what he was.
You think he's better mentally?
I think
because that's what we're talking about. It's not the physical game. We're talking about mentally.
Yes.
I'm just asking you: is he a better football player today than he was 3 years ago? Did the offseason help him?
I don't think
the offseason did not help him.
I don't think that
staying away from the ball field did not help him. But what helped him is when he started playing football again. And he got through his routine and playing at full speed on the NFL football field. He got better. He gained courage. Now, where is he at right now? 9-5, 9-6. I mean, he gained. What happened?
I still need.
He had courage. He had courage.
Look, I still need to see it from him.
Listen, the Broncos are 11-3.
And that's fine. I still need to see it in the playoffs, man. If he gets to the AFC,
he's been there before, though.
I know he has. He's only got 1 championship. With all the great regular seasons that he's had.
I'm just saying he has been there. So he knows, and he has. He has turned the Broncos around.
He ain't afraid of the dance.
Somebody that nobody
ain't
wants
afraid
to
of the
play
dance.
the Broncos.
All I'm saying is I still need to see
it. Peyton Manning.
Let me do this to you.
Nobody wants to play the Broncos.
Nobody
Peyton Manning.
I would,
and I wouldn't either.
Let me do this to you. New England's in, done, set over.
I'm saying.
New England's there.
I got the Broncos, man. I got the Broncos.
Houston, Denver, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh.
Man, if Peyton gets to hook up with Andrew Luck, Peyton will school that boy.
Houston,
we
Denver.
got two things.
I'm sorry.
New England's in.
Right.
In the AFC. We got one more spot in the AFC Championship.
Yep.
You're looking at Houston, Denver, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. Who do you like? I mean,
To fill that spot?
Who fills the second spot in the AFC Championship?
I think it's Denver. I mean, Denver's
you
playing.
Putting up Denver
Look,
against,
Denver's playing.
Yeah,
Denver's playing unbelievable ball. I'm not taking anything away from Peyton Manning. He's having maybe potentially the best, not necessarily statistically,
he's better than what he was,
but mechanically, the best year he's ever had. All I'm saying though, and he's been of the quarterback sack in the National Football League, he is one of the least one sack. But what I am saying is we've seen this story before, and there's a good opportunity for him not to advance in the playoffs based on all the great regular seasons he's had in the past with Dwight Freeney and all them cast before that were playing great defense.
You know what? All I got to say is, who has heard from John Elway? Has anybody seen John Elway on ESPN in front of the news being questioned every day, every week about Tim Tebow? And that was last year.
Tim Tebow's a hot potato.
Yeah,
he dropped.
But now he took Peyton. He had some buzz early. I mean, it was like man, we don't know if Peyton can take the hit or not. I mean, can he or can he not? I mean, we don't know. Nobody knows. But he rehab and all that, and Elway took the gamble on him. And you know what? We ain't heard from Elway, and that's a good thing. You're not hearing from the boss. And when Payton's putting up the numbers,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Quick, let's move into the NFC division. I'm going to start off with divisional champs. There's only two in the NFC right now. The NFC is still fighting to win. Let me start off with Atlanta in the South at 12-2, Greg. What do you think about Atlanta?
You know what? I like Atlanta. I don't love them though. And the reason why I don't love them is because I got to see more in the playoffs. Everybody knows. I mean, they got the best two receivers right now. Turner's doing this thing. They got the bag of running back, running. And then you have, Matty Ice, Matt Ryan. The first 7 games, he looked legit. They lost one or two games where you're like, we thought you could do a little bit better. They blanked out the Giants. Did the Giants play their best game? Not really. I like the Falcons, but, ask me after they win their first playoff game this year. Now, do I think, especially with Tony Gonzalez, they can go far? Absolutely, but they got to play inspired, and it's all the way around. To date, they haven't put 3 phases of the game together. If they do, they're tough as nails.
No, not at all.
No,
can't win the big one.
No,
I think Tony Romo.
He hasn't had many opportunities as Tony Romo has. Matt Ryan has not had as many opportunities as Tony Romo has as to win it yet.
Not in their career, just because Romo's played longer.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
So Green Bay in the North. Green Bay already clinched the North at 10-4. My thought on Green Bay is they look like less of an offense this year. They're not as dominant on offense. And their defense is the same. They can't stop anybody. They manage to win at home. They go on the road and they lose. They're 10-4. They've already clinched the North. I don't think Green Bay can get to the NFC Championship. I think they're out. What do you think?
I don't think they have the defense, but do you think they can outpace people?
No.
I mean, just to get to it.
That's the point I made earlier about their offenses this year. Last year, they would run with you. They'd give up the touchdown, run with you. Give up the touchdown, field goal, run with you. I don't think they have that offense this year. Jennings been out for a while.
The last time we saw them in the playoffs, they dropped a whole lot of balls in there. Aaron Rodgers was still accurate.
Green Bay goes out in the first round this year. They got no defense. Or whoever they play. Play out, it's a wild card game.
They play the Vikings,
they're done.
They don't go out the first
round.
You know what?
They don't have no defense.
Well, they've also been injured though, and they got some of their pieces.
You can bring
back.
it back. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
They don't have both sides.
So you think they go out first round?
Yeah, they're done.
Okay.
I don't
agree with that.
I tell you what, I tell
I
you,
think they're.
I'll tell you this right now. You better look out for the Seahawks, man.
But here's where I'm going. Let me talk about the Seahawks at 9-5 right now.
You better look out for them boys.
But they're going to the 49ers this week.
Whatever.
They're the top of the wild card division in the NFC. They're going to the 49ers. And if they manage to beat the 49ers, they got the Rams the last week of the year. Mm-hmm. They're 9-5.
Rams don't.
They 10-6 or they 11-5.
They win the
what do you
next
think
two.
about them?
They win the next two.
11-5.
Man, Seattle's hitting their stride, man. Russell Wilson is. I'm telling you, if RG3 doesn't play the last two games, he's already. I understand he's going to play tomorrow. That's what we said, or Sunday. He's going to play Sunday. But if he don't. Russell Wilson is right there in line for Rookie of the Year. I'm telling you, Seattle's for real. They got a nasty defense. You know what? Pete Carroll's Coach of the Year. They got something going on up there that doesn't come around very often. It's pretty good thing going on up there.
We're talking about a 9-5 Seattle team.
It, man.
But right behind them in the NFC, we've got a Chicago at 8-6. I know they've had problems. I know they got injuries. But all they got left is Arizona and Detroit, Greg. I mean, they don't. You're talking about a team that can go 10-6 easy. Them two teams, Arizona and Detroit, they don't have much going on for Chicago.
No, and when they played each other, nobody knew who to bet against. Look, I mean, when you're looking at the Bears right now, yeah, it might look like it's an easy way in, but no one trusts the Bears. Cutler, for all his antics or what people perceive as antics, and I don't like to give him credit. He's a tough quarterback, but they're missing some pieces on defense. Behind Brandon Marshall, they don't have another receiver.
One loss, they're out.
They don't have another receiver even close, so you know that everyone's keying in on that. They're running a Tampa 2 with someone else spying, and they don't have
no Urlacher.
Right. And so even though they still sort of have a running game, it's nothing that you can really trust. They started out hot. They were 7-2 or 7-3, and then now they're only they haven't won. That makes them 1-3 in their last 4 games. Yeah. They're a nice story, but they're
Arizona, Detroit, who they lose to.
Either one. I mean, Arizona will surprise you. You don't know what Wisenhunt's going to do. He may be on his way out. So whether it's Lindley or the other dude
they beat the Cardinals. They'll lose to Detroit probably, but they beat the Cardinals.
But 8-6, we move on to the Cowboys. With the Saints this week, Redskins next week.
They're out.
One loss in the East, NFC East.
Cowboys
are
are done, man. I don't think they can beat.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Right now, the Cowboys are hot, man, and I don't like the Saints, and I don't like the Cowboys. But right now, they're playing hot ball. They're like 3-1 now.
Okay, so let me do this since Chip made that comment.
And I don't think
the Cowboys don't make the playoffs. Who's done first, Garrett or Romo?
Neither.
They don't get rid of neither.
Talk to the general manager.
Garrett's going first. Romo's.
Then they're going to be where they were at.
They're not getting rid of Romo yet. They're not going to do it.
That's ridiculous.
Sure, it's ridiculous. But you know what? Let me ask you this. He said that the window's closing. Well, what does that mean to Jerry Jones?
Jerry Jones is what's wrong with the Cowboys.
Obviously, but knowing that he's what's wrong with the Cowboys, that's still going to be there.
Bring Romo back next year.
Yeah, he does. He gets rid of Garrett before he does Romo.
Because Garrett's not.
If he gets rid of either one, I don't know if
because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
because Andy Reid's available, because you might be able to get Saban, because of a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean,
Chip Kelly. There's a fucking host of.
Well, they got the Saints this week. Win or loss,
and you don't get Romo. Romo
got the Saints this week. They win or lose.
I think they.
What's that? Who?
Cowboys got the Saints this week.
They lose.
Saints win. I think they win, and I think they lose against Washington next.
Saints
1-1.
They lose the last 2 games.
Well,
Cowboys are out.
Cowboys go out.
They're out.
The playoffs again this year.
They're out. But
Who's
Saints,
more in trouble, Garrett or Romo? You guys seem to think
more in
Garrett.
trouble.
Again, I still think it's Garrett because Romo's his dude, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and to prove that is look at the money that they've spent on wide receivers.
Yes.
Look, and
Rod's been hurt, but
look, I mean, Rob Ryan,
Garrett. I mean, Witten. I mean, he's in and out, but
Garrett is probably an excellent.
Romo can run the offense.
And just to use a team that you talk about a lot. when you think of Mike Tomlin and then you think of Garrett, you think a world of difference, don't you?
Absolutely.
Right, and that's the problem.
Yeah, but
Because
Tomlin's
when
the head coach. Well, both are head coach.
Right. No, exactly what you said. Tomlin's a head coach, and you don't feel the same way with Garrett because he's not. When you think the Dallas Cowboys,
you stacking the deck on me.
No,
because I won't pick against Mike Tomlin.
Any day. Of the week. What I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is brand recognition.
I don't care.
And when we think about the Dallas Cowboy brand, we think about Jerry Jones. When we think about the Pittsburgh brand, we think of
Mike Tower and Mike Tomlin.
Right. That's why Garrett's out.
Let me interject.
But seriously,
because these two will go on all day long. They'll argue
discussing.
and argue and argue, and we won't come up with a winner.
If I'm ever there, he's my coach.
Oh yeah, all day long,
bar none.
We've proven the fact that Chip loves Mike Tomlinson. We can't fight that.
He just.
But let me tell you something. Giants are sitting at 8-6. They got the Ravens and the Eagles left. They need to win both, and they need the Cowboys and Washington to each lose one game. Enough said about that. Vikings are 8-6, but the Texans and the Packers. Are they out, Greg?
The Vikings?
Their schedule's 8-6. They got the Texans and the Packers. Both teams are already in.
The Vikings.
They're already in. Are the Vikings got a shot, or are they done?
Vikings, it's uphill, man. I mean, that's
if they win both.
If they win both, yeah, maybe. I mean, I sooner bet that Adrian Peterson gets his numbers before they win both games. I'll tell you that much.
I just think if they win both, I don't think there's enough can happen to get them in. They're going to be like the Giants, again, 10-16.
Even if
10-6, and you don't make a playoff.
Even if they do win both, you can't trust them.
Let's answer the real question here. What about Adrian Peterson having to get 294 yards in the last two games against the Texans and the Packers? So where are we at here?
I think
this kind of leads me back into something I really wasn't finished with earlier.
He gets it. They'll go out of their way.
I'm just kind of curious where we're at here on
They'll go out of their way to help him break Eric Dickerson's record.
Why is that?
And I'm rooting for Adrian Peterson. He's a beast. He's an athlete. He's something for your child to follow.
I'm with him.
He's something for your child to follow. He went, you know what? I got hurt. I'm busting my tail. I'm going to do the best job I can do.
I get that. What I'm saying is that I don't know if that a bunch of NFL people that are involved in this want to see Eric Dickerson's record broke.
They want to see every record broke.
Everything's
you know how bad
cares about Eric Dickerson?
Nope.
You know how bad it's waiting for the 72 Dolphins to get beat? They can't say it. Only difference is everybody's got to play more games.
You think why do you say that? Why does nobody care about Eric Dickerson's record?
Everyone cares about. You think people care about Jerry Rice's record?
Yep.
No. You think people are saying don't break it like they talked about the home run record in baseball? Hell no. They're not doing what you gotta do. Doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Why does it matter?
Because it keeps it going. It keeps things, things moving.
And now it's about to get broken.
Because we're talking about Adrian Peterson breaking Eric Dickerson's record. That's what keeps it going. It's important. If he can get 294 yards in the next two games, you know what, man? I'm going to have a real hard time figuring that out. But getting back on...
nuts. This is crazy.
Getting back on to what we're talking about.
Adrian Peterson's numbers don't matter to the fact whether Minnesota gets in the playoffs or not. But you know what? You want to talk about you want to go on MVP stat? Let's go on MVP stat. Okay? Because here's my question to you. When it comes to the MVP race, I always think, I always look at it this way. If that guy was not, let's take the guys we're considering for MVP, right? Let's take them. If he was not on that team, where does that team lie? Can I start first? Do you mind?
Go ahead.
Absolutely. I would suggest.
You seem to have a passion.
I would suggest you go first.
Let's take a Peyton Manning. I'm blown away by the fact that he continues to get. I've said it many times. He gets better every week.
4 neck surgeries.
I agree.
Okay. How many neck surgeries?
4.
Okay.
Reported 3.
He's constantly putting up crazy numbers.
Yeah.
He took over a team which was kind of
It wasn't
how
bad.
it was expected
But
when
it
he
wasn't bad.
stepped
They
in.
had John Fox there. It wasn't bad.
John Fox
but
didn't tell Peyton Manning anything.
But they improved real quick, real fast.
The
over 1 year.
team the previous year went to the playoffs
Yeah.
and beat the #1 defense in the first round.
And they got rid of some people and some people. I mean, they
When we're
improved pretty
talking
quick.
about the MVP
I'm impressed.
of the
I'm
league,
impressed.
Yeah.
with Denver,
Peyton
man.
Manning, and you've heard me say it 1,000 times on the show. When does he level off? When does he hit that plateau? When does he go?
The playoffs.
Yeah. No, probably.
Where-
Why? Because he's playing a better team.
Well, because
he's played them teams.
Because he's 500, if not one game better or worse in the playoffs. That's why.
Okay, before I carry on with this segment, I'm going to go ahead and say it now so I do not have to repeat myself. We're going to bring up 3 or 4 more names. Peyton Manning is my MVP pick of the season. Why? Not only career-ending surgery, but he really could have put himself in a wheelchair. He could have done a lot of things. What am I? I'm not impressed with that. I'm impressed with the fact that he's gotten better every week. Listen to our show. Go back week to week. You'll hear me say it. When does he stop? When? Let's move on with the MVP. Greg,
playoffs.
Peyton Manning. I'm passing you.
He stops when he hits the playoffs.
With who?
Huh?
With who? New England with no defense?
No, what I'm
lead
saying.
him up.
What I'm saying is, if you look at his record in the playoffs, you think he's going to go deep in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Broncos
answer.
are going.
And if he does, he's going to do what he did in the past, which is probably not making the championship game. He's made it there once. He's won it, and I give him credit for that. I think he's a hell of a quarterback. I think he's candidate not only for MVP but comeback player of the year. He's turned Demaryius Thomas and Decker into great receivers, whereas the previous quarterback maybe wasn't able to do that. He's leading the MVP voting for the Pro Bowl. Look, I think Peyton Manning's doing a great job, but at the end of the day, this is what we expect from him year to year.
So that hurts him with the voters?
No, what I'm saying is the previous quarterback, he's still doing exactly what that guy did so far. Plus
So he's blew up ahead.
He's blown the numbers have
the passing numbers
Sure.
And I think
Put the RG3 out of him.
I think when you're looking at Andrew Luck, the numbers he's put together with the quality of players that he's had, not necessarily NFL ready. He's played with a lot of rookies. The guy is doing phenomenal things, and I think he actually may be, one of the more valuable pieces to his team. But I don't think with his numbers, I'm not going to get into him. I don't think that he's the best in the league.
Yeah, but the missing ingredient was a quarterback, and they went and did that. They should have been there last year. They went on. They beat the Patriots, or they didn't beat the Patriots. They beat the Pittsburghs. They beat the Steelers in the first round of the playoffs. And I mean, they were headed there. They were not a bad team. So you bring in a Peyton Manning, which nobody knew what was going to happen. He gets better every week, and now he's got his team.
And they should go to the show, and we might see that.
I think so.
Outside of his injury, Peyton going to Denver, do people expect him to go to playoffs?
No.
I told everybody who would listen that he wouldn't make it to week 6.
I didn't think he would make 7 games without getting his neck broken. Not ever playing football.
I think he'd make it to week 6. I mean, the year he's having is, don't get me wrong, is astonishing, man. But when we're talking about the MVP and value to their team based on what they've done and what the team would do without it, that's your criteria. You got to look
getting 2 wins.
Right,
Luck's got him at 9 going.
Right, and I also think you have to look at
RG3?
I think you have to look at Adrian Peterson, which is a little bit harder to see because with his ACL and MCL torn December 24th last year, and he only missed 1 game, it's tougher to see where he wasn't there, especially with an inefficient quarterback.
Who is it?
Let me put you on the spot.
I still think
but
it comes
2 weeks
down
left.
to
Who's your MVP of the year?
I still think it comes down to this before you can answer that question. Is what does Adrian Peterson do for the last 2 games?
Don't make the playoffs.
Does he get 2? I'm not talking about playoffs. He's got 294
I don't
yards to
think
rush for.
breaking
Does
the
he
record
break
matters.
Breaking the
if
record
he
doesn't
does
matter.
that?
I don't think
Okay,
it
if he
matters.
does that, fine.
If
Okay,
he does, if he breaks the
People
record,
don't vote on
now
who they
the other
see,
question
Jeff.
is how far does Peyton take the Broncos in the playoffs?
If he makes the AFC Championship, he wins it.
I mean, I think
Denver plays better defense.
if they go up against it, I think it comes down to pass rush, and I think that's where Denver.
Sure.
I think that's where Denver sort of edges them, but at the same time,
Look at New England last week against San Fran. Showed they couldn't play defense. Come back in the second half, turned the defense on, ran the ball, threw it all over.
And that's what.
And why did they lose? The clock gave up. Little too late. They had them beat.
I get it, but they also went against a championship defense and under
I don't
what?
think Houston's a championship defense.
You don't think so?
San Fran. Excuse me, I apologize. San Fran plays.
So you don't think
defense.
Let's
talk about this after week 1 of the playoffs.
Do you think San Francisco is going to make the NFC Championship game?
No, we're talking about defense.
No, I'm
Carry him the second week.
I'm asking.
Kaepernick don't have the experience.
I'm simply asking.
Kaepernick does not have the experience. Kaepernick is too young and does not have the experience to play in that game.
But they also don't have tape on him, and that is.
Care about Kaepernick. I don't care about Kaepernick.
I know you don't. That's why I have to care about it.
Kaepernick.
That's why I have to care about it. So you can listen to it.
Let me say this.
Make sure that it's in your brain.
Let me just say this.
Who cares?
You know what I do believe in?
You don't care about Kaepernick?
No.
You know what I do believe in?
He don't scare me.
I believe in
you think he's that good of a
RG3,
quarterback?
Russell
What
Wilson.
I'm saying
In the playoffs, we're talking playoffs. We're not talking regular season playing.
Everybody said the same thing about Alex Smith. What did he do?
Right. You think Kaepernick's any better?
What I'm telling you is there's
Could Kaepernick give him a little more of a running game?
Between these two,
a little bit more running game, a bigger arm, and they don't have tape on him. He hasn't been in the league 8 years.
When he hits a playoff,
I know he's not seasoned. You know what?
Next year we'll talk different about
And you know what? If he doesn't do good, guess what? They're gonna put Alex Smith in.
They're making a mistake. Kaepernick, they got to stick with him. He is the future.
Look, if he drops the ball or
you know what, they just threw
someone's
him in there. Just give him a break.
They are going to put in Alex Smith.
No, Kaepernick is going to start. This is
I believe he's going to start. What I'm telling you is,
49ers. He is the future.
When they get to the playoffs, they're going to have that option.
Harbaugh went and got him. It's a done deal.
Same thing
same opportunity.
Same reason why I said
he played. He done well.
Same reason why I said the Redskins will go far because
He's
they
got
have
higher upside.
a valuable option at the backup quarterback spot.
Yeah.
So you know what? With that in mind, we were touching earlier on Rookie of the Year. My question is, and I know how Rookie of the Year and stats and all that crap works. Okay, I'm going to go back to the same thing I said with MVP of the Year. Better for the team, the whole 9 yards. In my opinion, the NFL Rookie of the Years come down to a 2-horse race. Am I right?
Nope.
I know you're going to throw Russell Wilson in there.
You ain't right.
I know you're going to. But Martin's already out of it. I got it a 2-horse race between Luck and Griffin. You can throw Wilson in there all you want. But here's my thing. Does it come down to who goes deeper in the playoffs?
If we're talking about the regular season and Andrew Luck did the last 2 games and scored 104 points like Russell Wilson did, he would have been the odds-on favorite to win it. But the fact is, Russell Wilson did it. And yeah, they were against lame duck opponents. I get it. But at the same time, he did it. Ran for 3 touchdowns, threw for a lot of yards. And so that's why I think it's a 3-horse race. Now, is he the sexy pick? Absolutely not. Do I think RG3, the way he throws, the way he scrambles, does he have the pieces? Not necessarily, but the boy can play ball.
Andrew Luck made a city forget about Peyton Manning.
Well, he also did that, but he also has
RG3. He also has the world.
He also has. He did. Yeah, he did.
Well,
he also has.
He did.
Andrew Luck also has 9 wins, and we're talking about Rookie of the Year. In the NFL, it's one thing if it's the NBA or the Major League Baseball, but in the NFL, everything's associated with wins, especially when you're a quarterback, unless you're a running back like Doug Martin, who played good, but he didn't play well enough to get into the conversation. And with 9 wins, the way he's playing, the command that he has, his fourth quarter, fourth quarter comeback wins, 2 on the road at least. I mean, that's stuff that you can't ignore. And while I like RG3, and I think he throws a better ball, he's more accurate, he's faster. He has, Andrew Luck can run a little bit too, but RG3, you can't match that world-class track speed. And once he gets on the outside, you're done. I think, RG3 is definitely the better athlete, but when it really comes down to impact on the team based on expectations early, I think what Andrew Luck is doing,
simply because Shanahan was in place,
heads above what everyone else is doing. Yeah. And RG3's right there. Don't get me wrong. And he's had some pieces.
I just cannot call it, man. I am struggling with this. I have never had a harder time at making a decision than I have about talking about this particular subject. I just can't do it. And now that Russell Wilson is bringing it right up to almost second, because it's, if RG3, if he gets gimpy, if something happens, he's out. I would pull him out. If I was Shanahan, if he shows any sign of any issue whatsoever, he comes off the field.
Yeah.
Well, I don't take that chance. I do not gamble with my most prized piece on the sidelines. I do not gamble with that.
Paycheck.
Yeah. No. You know what? I'll throw Kirk Cousins out there, and he does a fine job.
Get hurt, Kirk.
You might lose him too. That's fine. I'm not worried about that. But what I do not do is I don't gamble with my decision on the play by player. But getting back to what we were talking about, I'm scared of these two right here, man.
Well,
I'm telling you, Seahawks and Redskins, buddy. I tell you what, man, that either one of them could, and watch out. But that right there,
but I think
49ers aren't going to make.
But again, for Rookie of the Year, though, I mean,
Andrew Luck, you said.
Yeah, I think
right now it is Luck. I think right now.
So we're saying right now, and I'm going to agree with the two of you. We're gonna let's say this: it's Andrew Luck's race to lose.
I don't how can you lose it though? Unless RG3
I'll tell you what. To me right now,
because he's hurt, I don't want to push him.
To me right now, we have a lot of generational players. When Michael Vick came on the scene, it was like, oh wow, Michael Vick, RG3 is like Michael Vick 2.2, and what I mean by that is that he has athletic ability. He throws it. He's actually the first one in the last one out, not reverse.
He's got it.
And he's got the attitude. Absolutely. He can get in front of the press. And the boy plays ball. And
he comes from Baylor, man.
He's a thinking man. He's a thinking man's quarterback. He ain't just an athlete.
He had this.
Although he has that too.
What nobody
and this is the guy that's going to revolutionize quarterbacking. And let's give Russell Wilson some credit too. Everybody passed on him twice. He's the third round pick.
What a bad choice!
And this guy is putting the league on notice that I'm not even
I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay.
I'm not even 6 feet.
I like Russell Wilson.
I got all three of them right now.
He's been beat.
He's not 6 feet in cleats.
He's 5'10" with arms as big as muscle hamster, and he plays quarterback. And his theory on the game is, come get me, and I'll play. Come challenge me, and let's see what happens. He don't sit back and hope for things.
No.
He don't go by the playbook. This is supposed to happen. That's supposed to happen. I've watched Russell Wilson, even in games this year he's lost, make plays happen. Big plays. Big plays come from stellar athletes. Stellar athletes come from hard work. It doesn't matter. Russell Wilson doesn't win the Rookie of the Year this year. Who cares? Because Seattle next year is going to love him. They are going to love it.
Hey,
they play ball. I like
it. With everybody needing a quarterback, do you think that they trade Matt Flynn?
They should.
Why not?
What the heck has he done?
I mean, nothing. He got beat out by Russell Wilson.
But you know what? If you get him for a song, you know, you got to back up a steady.
I mean, that
backup,
defense is
and
tight.
you ain't paying him nothing.
Marshawn Lynch is playing. I mean, maybe you get a big deal wide receiver for
I don't know that he would be a trade piece. I don't know how much money's tying up with him. But
they paid a lot to get Matt.
$7, $8 million a year.
Well, let's do this, Greg.
I
Who
don't
do you
think
think?
we'll
Who's
see
your
more
rookie
than
of the
that.
year this year? Right now, with 2 weeks left.
The rookie of the year.
Just give me a name. I don't want to stat, quote, nothing.
It's Andrew Luck.
How about you, Chip?
Yeah, I'm at Luck right now.
You know, we're all in agreement with Luck. I think it's Luck's race to lose.
I got a real problem.
I think Luck
I got
has the
a real
ability to
problem.
win a game
It's
in the
tight.
playoffs.
It's so tight.
But I'm going to tell you what, folks. We've had a great show tonight. This is our holiday version of our show. Thank you for joining us. We won't see you again before Christmas, so have a Merry Christmas from the Thursday War Room. My name's Larry D. I always sit with Chip and Greg. So we hope you have a great holiday, and we'll be looking forward to talking to you next Thursday. Please send us a question. We'll do our best to answer it for you. Have a good holiday, good evening.
Good night.